You have a task. You know it needs to be done. You know it's important. You even want to do it. But you just can't start. You open your laptop. You stare at the screen. You maybe check your phone. Open YouTube. Close YouTube. Get some water. Sit back down. And still, nothing happens. And the worst part? You're not being lazy. You're not procrastinating on purpose. You want to start. You just can't. If this sounds like you, this video is going to explain exactly why this happens. And I'm not going to give you a just to make a to-do list answer. I'm going to show you what's actually happening inside your brain. Let's get into it. Section 1. What is task paralysis? This feeling has a name. It's called task initiation paralysis. Task initiation just means starting a task. Paralysis means you can't move. So task initiation paralysis means your brain is completely stuck at the starting line. Now here's what most people think is happening. They think you don't care enough. They think you're being lazy. They think you just need more discipline or motivation. But that's completely wrong. Task paralysis is not a motivation problem. It's not a willpower problem. It's not even a time management problem. It is a brain chemistry problem. And it happens mostly in people with ADHD because of how the ADHD brain is wired differently. Let me explain exactly what's going on inside your head. Section 2. The ADHD brain. Why it's different. Every human brain runs on chemicals called neurotransmitters. Think of them like messengers that carry signals between brain cells. The two most important ones for getting things done are dopamine and norepinephrine. Dopamine is your brain's reward chemical. It tells your brain, this is worth doing. It creates motivation, focus, and that feeling of, let's go. Norepinephrine is your brain's alertness chemical. It helps you pay attention, stay on task, and take action. Now, in a normal brain, these chemicals are released at a stable, steady level. So the person can sit down, start a boring task, and just do it. Even if it's not exciting. Even if there's no reward coming soon. But in an ADHD brain, dopamine and norepinephrine don't work the same way. The ADHD brain has lower dopamine activity. It doesn't release enough dopamine for regular boring tasks. So the brain doesn't get the signal that says this is worth doing. Without that signal, the brain refuses to start. Not because you're choosing not to, but because the chemical trigger simply isn't firing. Think of it like a car engine. You have the car. You have the keys. You want to drive. But the ignition isn't getting enough fuel to start. The engine won't turn on, not because the car is broken, but because it needs a specific type of fuel to activate. That fuel, for the ADHD brain, is interest, urgency, challenge, or passion. Section 3. The ADHD activation system. Dr. William Dodson, an ADHD specialist, described this perfectly. He said the ADHD brain is not motivated by importance. It is motivated by a system he called PINE. P. Passion. Is this something you genuinely love? I. Interest. Is this new, exciting, or stimulating? N. Novelty. Is this different from what you did yesterday? E. Emergency. Is there a deadline or consequence right now? If a task hits one of these 4 things, the ADHD brain activates. It gets the dopamine hit it needs, and you can suddenly work for hours. But if a task is important but boring, necessary but repetitive, critical but not urgent yet, the ADHD brain gets nothing. No dopamine, no signal, no activation. And you sit there, frozen, wondering what is wrong with you. This is why ADHD people can spend 6 hours on a video game but can't spend 10 minutes writing one work email. It's not about effort. It's about whether the brain's activation system is being triggered or not. Section 4. The emotional weight that makes it worse. Now here's where it gets even harder, because task paralysis doesn't just feel frustrating, it feels shameful. You're sitting there, unable to start, and your brain starts saying, "Why can't you just do it? Everyone else can handle this. You're so useless. You're going to get fired. You're a failure." This is called negative self-talk. And for people with ADHD, it's extremely common and extremely loud. And here's the cruel part, that shame and anxiety actually makes the paralysis worse. When you feel anxious or ashamed, your brain goes into a mild stress response. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning and starting tasks, becomes even less active under stress. So the more you beat yourself up for not starting, the harder it becomes to actually start. It becomes a loop. Can't start leads to feel shame, leads to more stress, leads to even harder. To start leads to more shame. And this loop can last hours. Sometimes the whole day is gone before anything gets done. Section 5. The role of the prefrontal cortex. Let's go a little deeper into the brain science, but keep it simple. There's a part of your brain right behind your forehead called the prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is like the manager of your life. It handles planning, decision-making, starting and stopping tasks, managing time, controlling impulses. In people with ADHD, the prefrontal cortex is underdeveloped and underactive. Brain scans have actually shown this. ADHD brains show significantly less activity in the prefrontal cortex compared to non-ADHD brains, especially during tasks that require focus. So when you need to start a boring but important task, the brain's manager is basically asleep at the desk. There's no one giving the "okay, let's go" signal. There's no one organizing the first step. The brain just sits in standby mode. This is not a character flaw. This is neuroscience. Your brain is literally wired to struggle with this. Section 6. What actually helps okay. So now you know why this happens. Let's talk about what you can actually do about it. Remember, the ADHD brain needs a trigger. So instead of fighting the brain, you work with it. Strategy 1, the 2-minute rule. Tell yourself, I will only do this for 2 minutes. Not the whole task, just 2 minutes. This lowers the brain's resistance because the task no longer feels huge. Most of the time, once you start, you keep going. Starting is the hardest part. After that, momentum takes over. Strategy 2. Add artificial urgency. Set a timer. Tell a friend your deadline. Book a meeting to present your work. Create a fake emergency because your brain responds to urgency. If the deadline is 2 weeks away, your brain doesn't care. Make it feel like it's due in 2 hours. Strategy 3. Body doubling. This is one of the most powerful tools for ADHD. Body doubling means working in the presence of another person. It doesn't even have to be the same task. Just having someone nearby creates enough stimulation for the ADHD brain to activate and focus. This is why coffee shops work. This is why study groups work. Strategy 4. Reduce the first step. Don't write "finish the report" on your task list. Write "open the document." That's it. Just open it. Make the first step so small that your brain can't say no. Then write the next tiny step and the next. Small steps create small dopamine hits that keep the engine running. Strategy 5. Change your environment. A new environment equals novelty equals dopamine. If you're stuck at your desk, move to a different room. Go to a cafe, sit outside. Sometimes a simple change of scenery is enough to reset your brain and give it the novelty it needs to activate. Outro. So let's bring it all together. You can't start tasks not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, not because you're broken. It's because your ADHD brain has lower dopamine activity. It needs interest, urgency, novelty, or passion to activate. And when a task is important but boring, the brain simply doesn't fire. Add to that the shame spiral, the stress response, and an underactive prefrontal cortex. And you have one of the most exhausting, misunderstood struggles that ADHD people face every single day. But now, you understand what's happening. And understanding is the first step to working with your brain, instead of against it. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because a lot of people are sitting somewhere right now, frozen, frustrated, and thinking something is wrong with them. Show them this video. Tell them their brain is not broken. It just needs the right fuel. I'll see you in the next one.